Howdy y'all, Joe Hills here, recording as I was doing Nashville, Tennessee. Keep adventuring is how I usually end my episodes. Well, that's how I begin and end my episodes. But what you guys are here for today is the middle. You guys are here for the middle of the episode, which is usually most of the episode. You guys might not realize. You probably do if you stuck around for a while. So what I'm doing right now, I'm actually in the middle of a project. But a big part of working on a project is gathering the materials you need to continue with it. As much as I have every piece of stone that I will ever need, I cannot get enough coal and enough diamonds. It is always good to have more of those. So I figure I'm going to go on a little adventure down to my mines. I haven't been back there for a good while, so I'm going to grab the sustenance I need to endure the perils of the mines. I'm going to grab the treasures from the mines, and I will hopefully return safely, joyfully, and gleefully, treasure in hand. Now, what I'm thinking is, in terms of food, bread, you know, it's sustaining, it's amazing. I was going to say it's detaining, but retraining. Sometimes rhyming is hard. You know, I've had hermits ask me to help them with their rhyming and stuff, and a lot of it is just practice. You know, there's this movie about this kid who, like, turns into dust or something in his grandpa's dream, but his grandpa's dead. It's a weird movie. But anyway, the kid has to do this, like, trapeze jump. And he mentions that the first thing that they teach you is how to fall off the trapeze. And I always lacked that. So the first thing that I think anybody needs to learn about rhyming is how to fail. And after that, they can learn how to fall. And then they can learn how to brawl. You know, hip-hop rhyming style. But as much as I'd like to stay and talk to you all day about rhyming and timing and wordplay, what I want to actually explore is at a different level of literature. I want to discuss the genre of adventure. Now, adventure as a genre is particularly of interest to me because of how many subgenres it has just, like, given rise to, and then how successful many of them have been. Like, if you go and look for a list of, like, most famous adventure books, that list will be full of books that you would not necessarily think of as in the adventure genre. Like Frankenstein, Dracula. You know, you think of those as, oh wait, aren't those horror novels? Well, horror didn't exist as a genre then. It was fantasy. And Sherlock Holmes, the adventures of Sherlock Holmes, were also in the adventure genre, but now that gave birth to mystery, you know. So we have these different kind of breakout genres from adventure. And I was thinking recently a lot about the Adventures of Johnny Quest, which is a American television show from the 1960s. Whoa. Okay, hey. Arrows? Okay, we got two of these guys. They're traveling in a straight line to hide their numbers. That's okay. Let's be ready for anything up here. Even that guy. Or that guy. Okay, well, this is going poorly for me. Could have gone a lot worse, though. So, in the meantime, let's go ahead and light some of this up and gather some more materials. This cave is going to be problematic if stuff is just going to be spawning and jumping down on me, too. So we'll drop some torches up there. I know for a fact that there's at least one zombie right here waiting for me. Oh, good. It's two. So, yeah, enjoy the flesh of your comrade, zombie. Hey, diamonds. See, this is why we do this. Treasure. Anyway, where was I? Johnny Quest is a show set in the it took place in the modern day, in the 1960s. It was a cartoon about this boy and his dad who traveled all over the world on adventures. The dad was a scientist, and it was kind of a jet age, like, exciting TV show. It was a cartoon, and him and the dad's bodyguard and the boy's friend they were all kind of basically a family. Even though they weren't all related, they were like a family unit that would go on adventures. And they would go to jungles, they would go under the sea. They would go islands, all sorts of different places, mountains. And it was kind of something where it inspired the imagination of youth. To be like, oh, you can go all these places and do all these things and meet all these different people from different cultures. And a lot of it was very reflective of the time period it was written. It was a Jet Age story with Jet Age ideals, and that's a what do you call it? Not a zombie, a skeleton that's going to arrow me into the corner here. Hey, you know what's a good idea? That's a good idea. Okay, so I definitely want to get to those diamonds. So I might not be doing the best job of explaining what Johnny Quest is. I'm willing to concede that. Yeah, enjoy your cobblestone. I'm going to put in a little barrier here so that I don't go in there. Okay, and then we're going to just... Okay, now you're going to die to death, and we're going to continue to light this cavern as best we can. I'm not too worried about guys coming from down there, or up there. I think that I've got that exit pretty well covered. But this way might be a different story. Oh, hey, more diamonds. Whoa, and a cave up here. What's up here? Let's maybe light that up a bit. Great, okay. This is also a perfect little alcove to make more torches in, because, my goodness, I'm going to need a lot of torches. Coal and diamonds are just like the lifeblood of Minecraft. It's so good to have... You can just go underground and collect them. It's like simpler times. There's no tragedy of the commons yet. You can just get whatever you need whenever you need it from the earth. Where was I? Okay, so I kind of want to get that diamond, like, first, because it looks awesome. But in order to do so, I think I'm going to come up here and maybe swing by this way and verify that there's nothing up here. Oh, hey, you know what I haven't done is I haven't put my torches in my offhand. That's always a helpful step when you're trying to avoid being mobbed to death. I'm not too worried about mobs coming from around that corner there. But yeah, this is a pretty neat cave. I'm pretty happy with it. Is there anything else down there? It's hard to tell, like, without being incredibly unsafe. Nope, doesn't look like it. Okay, so I think that we can safely say that we've made sure no mobs are going to ambush us from this direction while we mine out our precious, precious diamonds. But yeah, the show was pretty popular. It ran for a few years as like a primetime television thing. Because, you know, back then, you know, you could run a cartoon at 7 o'clock at night and kids would watch it with their families, that sort of thing. Everybody only had the one TV. So, you know, you didn't have mom and dad are watching Minecraft videos while the kids are busy watching wrestling. Like you do today. Okay, there we go. So, 3 diamonds. Not bad at all. So let's go ahead and grab this. But it's probably not a safe place to mine these. Probably there's better ways I could do this. But I don't always like the best ways. I like my way. This is what makes me flawed as a person. Or one of many things that makes me flawed as a person. Yep, see that? That was dangerous and silly. Shouldn't have done that. Johnny Quest. Once again, you got like a family unit that goes on adventures, travels around the world, looks for treasure, solves problems, and also incorporates like modern scientific elements from its time period. And I think that one of the closest equivalents to that came out in the 90s was probably the DuckTales show. Well, actually, that came out in 86, 87. But the DuckTales cartoon was running when I was a young child, and it was very similar. You got the uncle, Scrooge McDuck, who is constantly taking the family on adventures around the world with their pilot and their own plane. And it works in a really interesting way. Where did that guy fall? I heard him fall. I know he's down here. It works in a really interesting way to be able to see like these family units solving problems and traveling all over the world, but it's not necessarily the most common way that a show, like a lot of shows for kids, they have the parents like isolated. Like there's this Troll Hunter show Guillermo del Toro made that my daughter watches, and it's kind of it's one of those things where like, oh, there's all this magic and there's trolls and there's real evil in the world, but like the parents aren't allowed to know. They had to keep it secret from the mom, you know. Same thing with like Sabrina the Teenage, no, not Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Her family totally knew she was a witch because they were witches. Same thing with Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I was gonna say to some degree, like they have to keep it secret that like she hunts vampires all the time from her parents. And you know, I understand like, okay, it's about how kids have experiences that adults can't comprehend because the world is different from when they were young, and because there's generational gaps, and there's a lot of art, you know, artistic value to that. But I think that these days it's a good time for a resurgence in this sort of family adventure genre, especially because it's getting more expensive in some ways to travel now than it was for a while, and more inconvenient because of TSA and, you know, laptop bans and all this stuff. Like, I think you're going to see the imagination of people latching on. Whoa, that is not where I want to go. Latching on to these sorts of concepts in a real way. Well, I don't know how much I want to explore that ravine because it looks pretty dangerous, but I've had some pretty good luck looking for diamonds down here already. So I kind of want to continue like around this way, and I can always fill it with lava if I don't like what I find. Like that just seems like a safe call to me. So I'm kind of anticipating that like Johnny Quest as a genre, or genre quest, or genre quest, I don't know. There's something here. Like Venture Brothers is a parody of Johnny Quest, like that was made for adults who grew up watching Johnny Quest to like look back and go, oh, wasn't this ludicrous? Oh, you know, I bet anybody who actually lived a life like that would end up having some real problems mentally later on in life, coping with the reality of their situation. Which, I mean, also, if you're going to make a show like that, the Magic School Bus, I'm sure those kids have a lot of problems. Because as much as it's a show about science, these people have encountered more magic in their lives than many people do, like, I was going to say in their lives. But, yeah, I mean, if you tried to explain to those kids that magic wasn't real, they would not believe you. Like, they would really have a lot of strong evidence that was not the case. So, anyway, what Y level am I at? 12? I think I might be able to find diamonds at this level. I might be a little bit too high, though. Why don't we go down a bit? But anyway, where was I? Yeah, Johnny Quest to Venture Brothers. Venture Brothers, parody of Johnny Quest, about, like, you know, a kid who grew up in one of these adventure families being really messed up as an adult, having trouble coping. It's a funny parody, but it's not... It's definitely loving. It definitely appreciates the source material. But it doesn't embrace, maybe, or it's a proto... Like... In some ways, parodies don't work unless something is genre-defining. So it demonstrates that Johnny Quest is genre-defining in some ways, but what it doesn't do is it's not a million other works that are going to grow off it. Now, at the same time, when horror first started, you know, Frankenstein and Dracula and these things start popping up, when Jules Verne started popping up, H.G. Wells, those are also, like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and The Time Machine, those were considered adventure novels. Science fiction didn't exist yet, like, but now there's a million science fiction books, you know. It takes time for these things to gain steam, but... Whoa, hey, is this my cave? This is my cave. Hello, my cave. I've lit you up already, to some degree. That's nice, I guess. So I now have a convenient way back there. That's good. Probably should I just totally walked past these diamonds. So busy talking about adventure, I'm not bothering to loot things. But yeah, so let's just back up a little bit. I'm going to suppositionize, suppose, if you will. I'm going to suppose that maybe there are actually a lot of these adventure families already out there. But they're not necessarily all on TV yet. I'm going to suppose that I think a lot of Dungeons and Dragons type adventure groups are actually basically just the Johnny Quest adventure family model to some degree. Because like players who play with each other, wow, I'm getting super. This is like the best episode ever. Okay, I don't think I've had this many diamonds at once in Minecraft in years. Usually, as soon as I got them, I would spend them at the shop or burn them into tools. But like, I'm still recording the same episode. 18 minutes. I've got 33 diamonds. Sorry, I'm just blown away by my wealth. I didn't sell out. I mined out? No, wait, I don't know if that works. Offhand. So, where was I? I think that a lot of these shows where you got people palling around, going on adventures, is actually a pretty close surrogate for what you would consider maybe family adventure genre. Now, that gets into, well, is that adventure or is that fantasy? And fantasy is its own thing, but I don't know. I think that people want something where folks work together, where there's definitely conflict and tension, but as Quinn Murphy, who's a game designer who works on a lot of RPGs, like tabletop pen and paper RPGs, I really admire his work. Quinn Murphy was talking on Twitter the other day about how tension can come from a lot of places in a story, and not all tension needs to come from conflict. You can have a lot of interesting things in a story or in a game without it being like, oh no, we can't let mom know that there's monsters. We can have other sources of tension, especially because there are monsters. You know, that opens a lot of doors for writing. But I'm just thinking there is an opportunity for people to do more with these sort of family adventure group stories, and I hope to see more like that, because it's interesting. A lot of the old adventure books that I've read, or what would be considered adventures, don't necessarily have strong families in them. Robinson Crusoe was, well, he's shipwrecked and stranded by himself. Not really a family adventure story, although he does pick up his man Friday later. He's got, you know, if you look at Moby Dick, the crew, to some degree, gets more familiar with each other over time, but familiar and family-like, or I need a better word for familiar that means family-like, which I think familiar originally did mean family-like. I don't know. Probably, I didn't call the etymologist. But where were we? Oh yeah, we got so much stuff now. I'm going to go ahead and store some of this while I ramble. But, you know, if you're thinking about... Whoa, a lot of sheep, a lot of noise. If you're thinking about like, oh, hey, I want to make a game, or I want to tell a story, you know, tell a story that you want to tell. But I suggest, if you're kind of looking for something that's up and coming, but isn't necessarily there yet, I think that there are opportunities to write in this genre, or in this potential genre. This, what would be a good word for a baby genre? Come on, what's a good word? Okay, so this is actually back to the hip-hop thing. We come back here. For some reason, I come up here and I start talking about, you know, wordplay and rap battles and all this stuff. I don't know. But it's all the sheep. They're making me think about rap battles. But anyway, torches. We've got all the torches we need now. We can drop off that coal later. I'm actually thinking I might go enchant some of these diamonds into gear, because I don't exactly have Top Gear right now. If I knew the name of the guy from Top Gear, I could make a joke about him. I'm not him. Also, I think one of them was in a big violent confrontation at some point, so I'm definitely not that one. What was I going to do? I was going to come in here and make some tools. But anyway, if you're thinking about stories that you want to tell, maybe consider doing some stuff with adventure families. I think that is an opportunity that is not being seized upon anywhere near enough. So one of the reasons I need a new shovel is this Fortune 2 shovel is killing me. It keeps scooping up gravel, and that's just completely unhelpful. Never hurts to have an extra diamond pickaxe, but I also am going to want to get chest plate, as well as maybe some little booties. I got boots right now, but they're not great. Get some diamond pants. And, you know, I think I'm good on axes. So I can probably store these extra diamonds in my ender chest for a while and go get the rest of this all built out. Let's see. So, traveling through the nether. Traveling to the end. Traveling, jumping over ice blocks. Traveling, jumping, bumping our heads on blocks. Oh, dang it, can't rhyme blocks with blocks. I'm undisciplined. If this were a rap battle, I would never win. But anyway, like a scuba diver, been unfinned. I'm just flopping around, making some sounds, splashing, crashing. Wait, I need to go down. Anyway, this is the nearest ender portal as far as I know. So away to the end we shall go. Okay, so let's check on our diamond pickaxe. Efficiency 4, well that's pretty good, but can we get that on our shovel? Yeah, let's, boom, efficiency 4 shovel with no fortune. That's going to be way better. And fortune 2 pickaxe with unbreaking 3, efficiency 3. That's a nice one to have. So we're going to go ahead and hit some more things and see what we can get for our boots, pants, and chest. Well, we're going to go ahead and do the chest plate first then. Unbreaking 3, protection 3. And what do we got? Unbreaking 3, projectile. Well, it's not feather falling, but we can always try and get some feather falling books at some point later. This is good enough to hold us over for now. These are just backup boots. I've already got boots anyway, so it's not the end of the world. Throw our extra diamonds in here. We will maybe swap out our unbreaking and fire protection gear here. Uh-oh, I think one of those guys is mad at me. I wonder how that happened. Anyway, and we'll throw that that new kind of slightly deficient pickaxe in there just to have a surrogate, or an extra. Yeah, Fortune 2 shovel, you can go in there too. Save for later. Okay, great. So now that we've taken care of some logistics, like, oh yeah, one of the things I did want to mention, at least briefly, without coming across as too fanboyish, because I can't even talk about, like, E3 without it just sounding like I'm trying to sell you Nintendo's products. But along those lines, you know, there's a new DuckTales coming out, and I was a big fan of the original DuckTales cartoon. We talked about it earlier this episode. But the voice actors that Disney has hired for the new series are all people who I love. David Tennant, who played Doctor Who, is going to be Scrooge McDuck. Danny Pudi, Josh Brenner, who were great in Community and Silicon Valley. Jim Rash, who played the Dean in Community. Kate Micucci, who's an amazing ukulele player. Hilarious woman. She's going to be Webby. They've just got a absolutely stellar cast picked out for this. And they're spending money on it. Like, these, not necessarily all the most famous people in the world. Like, Disney believes in this. And I don't think they're wrong to, is kind of my point. So when I think something, and I see Disney throwing a ludicrous amount of money at it, if I'm just like, there's not enough here in this space, and Disney is throwing a ton of money at this space, I feel like I might be right. So I just wanted to, you know, kind of back up my observations with some additional observations, which are borderline evidence, I guess you could consider it, but I don't know. You might not consider it evidence. It's just speculation to some degree. But anyway, here we are back at our wall, and we got the stuff we need to build our cliff. We got the shovel we need to grab the gravel and the sand to continue our dig and to get our concrete powder in. I've loved the comments I've gotten so far about what to put in along here. But you know what? I think the sun's set and the moon is rising. It is time to say goodbyes and no, or just goodbye. Or more simply, you know, what is that? Is that your phone? Ring, ring, ring? No. It's Joe. Until next time, y'all, this is Joe Hills from Nashville, Tennessee. Keep adventuring.